Welcome in to the Sunday night show. Clout Demonz are back. I'm Noah. We got Ronnie here, Stu behind the keys. And we got Ripley from LSU in as a guest, sitting in on the show, getting active. We got a lot to get through tonight. The Clout Demonz have been running LSU practice this week. We've been keeping our eyes peeled. We've been getting some film for Jay. As ever, so we're going to break that down a little bit. LSU baseball, rough weekend. We were riding high last weekend, throughout the week this week. This weekend hurt. Brought us back down to earth a little bit. March Madness, the Final Fours this weekend. One terrible basketball game last night and one great basketball game last night. And hopefully another great one tomorrow night. And then the Pels. The Pels officially own the Los Angeles Lakers. We're going to get into that as well. But yeah, welcome in. Appreciate all y'all coming to watch, coming to interact. But yeah, how was everybody's weekend so far?
Shoot, my weekend was great. My
weekend was cool. You know, watched a little basketball, watched a little Kansas Nova. Fell asleep on the Kansas Nova game and didn't watch the Duke UNC game, but I see that Coach K is going home, so I'm happy.
Woke up happy. Yeah, Stewie picked the wrong game last night. He watched the Nova Kansas game, missed out on one of the best games that I've watched this whole tournament with the Duke UNC game. But yeah, we all three of us went and hit up practice yesterday. Yesterday was also junior day, so we got to see a bunch of the recruits out there enjoying practice, and their entire families. The entire sideline was packed out with the recruits and their people. There were some 5-year-olds in there with us. Made you feel really good about your credentials whenever 5-year-olds get the same ones.
That was funny though, like when they be running down the sidelines and then like they get close to the little kids and the little kids would be like, "Oh, go 23, go 22." Like,
yeah, just show. I mean, we would be the same way when we were kids if we could do the same thing. Just imagine the kids that Coach O let come practice with the players, girlfriend's kids. But practice has been great so far. Yesterday we got to watch the entire practice, which was very awesome. And you could tell by some of the media members that have been around longer how cool of a experience it was. You could tell that they had never had that sort of transparency and availability from a program. And so it was really cool to see that and to be a part of that. But also just being able to see what a full practice at LSU looks like under Brian Kelly and his program. And then we got to see some one-on-ones, which was probably the best part. I mean, that's like, not just one-on-ones, receiver corner, you got to see one-on-ones with O-line, D-line, and you got to see really everything.
The only thing I didn't see was running back versus linebackers.
Didn't get a little amazing.
Yeah, but like the one-on-ones we did see, it was like just red zone, but it was still like it was still intense. It was still a competition and it was still going on.
Right, and that's some of the most fun stuff. I mean, the big cat drill and one-on-ones, but I wish we could have seen some Oklahoma, like with the running backs and linebackers.
That would have been nice.
Which, maybe one day. But, practice was great. One of the highlights of practice to me was Miles Brennan. I think he looked like the number one quarterback. I know it's it's kind of a stretch, but yesterday, he looked great. Yeah. Especially that the bomb that everybody's been talking about that he threw to Jeray Jenkins when they were going 11-on-11. Not only did he show the arm talent with a ball that really traveled 65 yards in the air, but he showed some mobility. He rolled out the pocket, kind of stepped up a little bit, avoided the sack, and just launched it on the money. And so that's what a starting quarterback in the SEC looks like.
He sounded like the starter. Like he was the loudest one out there. Yeah. His claps were the loudest. Like he was just like, he was barking his calls out loudly. Like he just seemed like he had command of the offense and the team. Yeah. But, it's his first week of spring.
Right.
Can't take too much into account.
There's a lot left, but yeah, he looked great. We got like an up close look at some of their like the quarterback's releases, like when they did that kind of speed, snap, throw, and we got to look at that. You can see the difference between Jaden Daniels and Miles Brennan, who have been there for longer, and then like Walker Howard, who's a high school senior essentially, just kind of getting adjusted. But the sneaky one is Garrett Nussmeier's really. He looks like a pro when he's just just sling, like it's just so pretty. And he's got the flak jacket on with the jersey like pulled up on the top of it. Like he's just got swag. Yeah. He's talking trash to B.J. Ojulari and the little like the setting the edge drill where he gets outside. He starts. And Joe Sloan hated it. Joe Sloan like started yelling at Nussmeier for not just running, like for starting to like juke back and forth.
Speaking of that, Nuss looks a little bit faster.
He does, and it might be because he's running after Miles Brennan a lot of the time. Yeah. That he looks faster, but no, I think he's showing his mobility, like which can set him apart, obviously. But yeah, the quarterbacks look great. The offensive line looks good, mostly the first group. When they get into the second group does not
get a little sloppy.
Kind of translate as well, other than number 66, who translates great with the second group.
66 would look good on any group.
Well, of course. And you can see like his raw talent, Will Campbell's raw talent, like just the pure strength and anger that he has. But there's still some kind of fundamental footwork type of stuff that he could work on. But he's showing that he's got the ability to make an impact this year. You know what I mean? Like if he can kind of learn some of that stuff, and you can see how influential Denbrock is with the offensive line, Brad Davis obviously, and Brian Kelly is with the entire offense. That those things will get fixed, that will get right, and they will get developed. And so I feel like the offensive line is going to be night and day compared to last year. Because obviously that was the biggest knock on the team as a whole last year was the offensive line just falling apart half the time.
Yeah, that and John Emery looks great.
Yeah.
He looks amazing. I really think he's going to have a breakout year this year.
Especially, and it goes hand in hand with the offensive line. If they are playing the way that they're supposed to, I mean, he's got the ability to make anything pop. Like there were some plays where, he's getting it up the middle. Like a lot of the times you see him as like an outside runner, catching it out the backfield. But I mean, he's bulked up. Obviously, he looks great. Yeah. He looks stronger. And I mean, if he can get some of that downhill, Ty Davis Price type running, because that was Ty Davis Price was going to be the punch you in the face back when John Emery was going to be the one that would shake around you.
Thunder and lightning.
Right. And so like if John Emery can get kind of both, like obviously he'll be more lightning, but if he can get some thunder, he could be special. And I mean, all he needs is a year of it. Yeah. And he'll be on NFL draft boards really. And so those are some of the offensive positions look great. The other one, obviously, is wide receiver. Wide receiver, we don't get to see the best wide receiver in the country. Kayshawn's not practicing because he's hurt. But we got to see somebody else that looks like one day they could be the best wide receiver in the country, and that's number 8. Malik Neighbors was absolutely cooking in the one-on-one drills. It was good to see him back out there. That was his first practice back this spring. It was his first practice, and so it looked like he picked up right where he left off in the season. Yeah. Because I mean, it didn't matter who Joe Fouché was on him a couple times, Sage Brown was on him, and it didn't matter who was on him. I mean, he wasn't dropping the ball. He was working the DB off the line, and he looked great. And he looks like a guy that could step up and kind of fill that wide receiver 2 role that's had a question mark next to it since last year. Yeah. And so I mean, those are good things to see on the offensive side. Defensive side, there are a lot more question marks in my opinion. I think Mekhi Garner is no longer a question mark. I think he's going to be a starting corner because not only does it look like it, he's playing like it. We haven't gotten to see Major Burns. He's hurt. Jay Ward was moved back to the first group, which was good to see, and I mean, he was playing great.
But Brian Keller said in his presser yesterday, don't take too much account into first team, second team type of thing this week. But next week, this week coming, we'll see more things start to play out of who's first team, who's second team, who's running, ones and twos type of thing. So,
but it was good, and it was just good to see Jay Ward out there making plays again. Because a lot of people expected last year more from him last year. I think with the whole position change from corner to safety, they expected him to have this explosion.
He kind of showed
breakout player, and they didn't really get that.
Yeah.
But I think he can still continue and be exactly what he's expected to be.
He looks bigger.
He does.
He
looks a lot big. He looks a lot bigger than he does on TV.
Yeah,
on TV he looks tiny, not tiny, but he looks small, skinny. And then you see him in person, you're like, because I legit was like, wait, who's 5? Yeah. Is it not Jay Ward?
That's him.
But it was him. And so there are more question marks on the defensive side, but those things I think will also get handled because, like the players were saying in pressers, accountability has been huge with the program, and I think that's been repeated with everybody that's talked to us and really just talked in general. And those type of things, the little things, are what is going to get the defense figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian Kelly talked about the safeties as a group that he was most impressed with. So I think a lot of those question marks will also get handled. But it's good to see the team kind of coming together and putting things together to get right for the season. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It would have been nice to see a little more of Jack Besh, but I think he had a little injury.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I saw him back out there, but I don't know what the severity of the injury was. But I did see the injury.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
Can't comment.
Jack Besh was out there. Obviously, he looks great. But like you said, I think they got wrapped up in one of the tackling drills.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I don't think it's anything major because he was back out on the field after. But, yeah, I mean, the team looked – they're definitely guys. You know what I mean? There's definitely guys that can lead. Dre Jenkins is one of them. His press conference was probably one of the most impressive that we've had yesterday. I think Mike Jones would have been up there, but it got cut off a little bit, which was a little bit aggravated. There was definitely some of the TV media was not.
No, they were heavy.
When I was cutting it to put it on YouTube, which it hadn't gone out yet, but I was cutting to put it on YouTube, you could catch the end of the Mike Jones, and I was like, I need to cut that off before some of the media
got a little
members
heated
started
in
getting
there,
upset about Pritt gets to get the full interview, but TV gets cut off or whatever.
They
and I
on
was
the
like,
deadline, man.
Yeah.
Ron Higgins.
Shout out Ron Higgins. Yeah, no, I was standing next. It was me, Ron, and Stewie were out there, and Ron was standing next to Ron Higgins. And it was like Ron Riggs and Ron Higgs, baby. You know, it was this dynamic duo.
No.
But yeah, no, it's cool to see that team kind of pan out. Paper Pyre asked anything interesting from BK. Was he still chill taking notes or more into it? He did not have the notebook yesterday. I don't think he was out there with the notebook, but he was definitely more into it.
For
He
sure,
was definitely more
it.
vocal, and you can tell when it's him talking. His voice is very memorable and recognizable. He was definitely more into it yesterday, and maybe that's because we got to see the whole practice. We got to see more of him, but one of the things they didn't want happening was players getting tackled. And, I mean, there was one time they were in the back of the end zone, and I don't remember who it was. Somebody's going for a catch, and they, like, trip up. They get tangled up, and they go down. And Brian Kelly's like, young man. Like, he doesn't say his name.
It was a walk-on.
It
was for sure a walk-on.
Yeah, definitely. And you can tell, like, and the guy's, like, head popped up real quick, and he started, like, walking over. And after that, you can't hear anything because Brian Kelly's like, he'll get your attention with the yelling, but then when you get to him, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's something obviously you like to see. But, yeah, he was definitely more into it yesterday. Just all the drills type of stuff, kind of getting them moving from side to side. Anything else that y'all saw out there?
I mean, besides, like, I saw BJ doing BJ's playing more of an outside linebacker role, so I would think we're running a 3-4 defense. So I saw him doing like a little coverage drill and like moving around a little more than you've seen him move around. If they could get him like standing up and mix it up with him, like moving him around, standing him up, putting him in a 3-point, it might be trouble for some offenses. Like for them to find him and identify him and just say, all right, 8's coming off the edge, or they might put him in the middle and say 8's coming up the middle. Like it's gonna be really hard to Making the defense multiple is going to be a big thing for this team.
No, when you have a guy that's that electric like he is, and can make impacts the way he does, but if he can do it in different ways, like then you can't game plan against him really. There's like, oh well, we thought he was going to have his hand on the ground. Well, no, he doesn't. We thought he was going to blitz every play. Well, he's not. You know what I mean? And he's a guy that's just he's an athlete. He's a dude, and if he can affect the game in different ways, it'll be huge for the defense. I honestly like him as a stand-up because he is so much like Ali Gay. Obviously, I think he's a hand on the ground. He's a bigger guy. He wants to just get straight out. But BJ, when he would hit that spin move, he's hitting it after having his hand in the ground. But imagine him being able to be stand up, come at you one way, and get back and then get after the quarterback. It's going to be huge. And I think that's going to help him out in the long run as a player, not just for LSU, but even in the draft. Like, they're going to be able to see that he can do things different ways. He's going to be able to fit different defenses. Oh, he played in the 4-3, and he excelled. He was the SEC sack leader through however many weeks last year in a 4-3. Then, okay, he can do that. And then maybe a team higher in the draft is like, well, can he play a 3-4? Well, yeah, you saw him play outside linebacker, really. And so, obviously, that's going to help him in the long run. And Brandon Reese asked, who do you think has impressed the most at linebacker and safety? Stewie, you were over with the defense mostly yesterday. Who do you?
It's going to be the cornerback, Mekhi Gardner.
Okay.
Mekhi Gardner, and at linebacker, Mike Jones. Mike Jones is taking that step. Like, he's becoming a leader, and he's, like, getting more comfortable being an inside backer. So, yeah, Mike Jones and Mekhi Gardner. But dark horse might be DeMario Tolan. Like, I keep seeing this dude. Like, every time I'm out there, it's just like he catches my eye. Like, just him just doing regular drills, but it's like, all right, who's 32?
Right.
Like, why isn't he with the first team? Like, he looks good, and I mean, he fits in well, and he does all his drills right. It's not like he's like behind or anything. So I would say Mike Jones, Mekhi Gardner, and DeMario Tolan.
Yeah. Anybody from the safety group that's stood out?
Not really.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, not really, because we watched one-on-ones, and the safety group kind of had a tough day.
Right. I think. No, I agree. I want to see Joe Fouché kind of take a step, see if he can really be a guy that we transferred for to come in and play and like make an impact. We haven't got to see Major Burns out there. I think obviously him and Jay Ward are the 1 and 2, the strong and free. I think that they're going to be the guys. But I want to see some of those other guys step up. I think Matthew Langlois looked good. I think he surprised me a lot with some of the drills. Because obviously we knew he had speed because, he was a sprinter in high school. And so obviously we knew he had speed, but he looks a little bigger. He doesn't look like a freshman anymore, you know what I mean? He looks like a guy that's ready to play SEC football. But I think those positions are going to continue to progress and continue to get better throughout the spring and even leading up to the season. But I think those positions are huge for the program, especially linebacker. And so I think I agree with the story with Mike Jones. I hope to see him inside and outside because I think he can run, but I think inside probably the best fit for him. Especially being a leader. Like Brian Kelly talked about how important it is to have the linebacker. I mean, he's in the middle of the field. He's basically the quarterback of the defense. And I think if you're going to trust anybody with that role, I think either Mike Jones or Micah Baskerville are going to take that. And so to see either one of them, I think, will be huge. And then having other guys like Jared Small out there, Greg Penn, who's been getting a lot of reps, to see those guys kind of step up and also be like an ancillary part, I think it's going to be huge for the defense.
Yeah, I feel like Mike Jones is going to have a Demonz Clark type of year.
Yeah,
I feel like he can take that step for real.
Which would be, a blessing as an LSU fan to see Mike Jones perform at.
Who?
I was waiting on that. To see him perform at the level we saw out of Demonz Clark last year, which should have been a first-round pick. It was rough to hear that the surgery and everything that was going on with Demonz. But to be able to have a linebacker have a year like that again would be absolutely amazing. But yeah, the football team is really exciting, I think, and even with there being a lot unknown, I think makes it even more exciting. But even with the unknown, to be able to trust the guy in charge makes it so much better. Brian Kelly's really impressed me with his press conferences, and then even just the willingness to be open to the media. Talk about individual players and their impact, individual groups and their impact, and then just hearing the things that the players are saying. Because, it's got to be terrible, or not terrible, but it's got to be hard to adjust for any coaching change, but especially the one that they're going through, going from Coach O to Brian Kelly. There's not much more opposite you can get from Coach O than Brian Kelly. It's polar opposite. Even just being out there watching practice, it's completely different. It's like a well-oiled machine, and you can just tell that the players are fully bought in to Brian Kelly because they want to be here and they want to win, which is very encouraging as an LSU fan because, a lot of the times it seemed like, well, do the players really want to be out there? And then you saw it in a couple games last year. Yeah, they do. But now with this whole team, a lot of Louisiana guys, a lot of people that are bought into the LSU message and Brian Kelly's message to see that it's awesome. And I think that's why there's so much confidence. Because, really, we should not be as confident as we are going into next year as fans. Because, we just went through a coaching change. We were 6-7 last year. LSU fans should not be as confident as they are. But with a guy like Brian Kelly in charge and players buying in, it gives you some sort of confidence. Like confidence we had going into last year. which we shouldn't have had.
What do you think the ceiling is for this team, like record wise?
Obviously, I don't think it's a national championship, but I think. I mean, you know what? Let's look at the schedule here.
I think at least 8 wins.
Yeah.
At least 8 wins.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with at least 8 wins.
If Miles can stay healthy, because basically at this point, and I know it's early, but I feel like it's his job to lose at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
So if he can stay healthy, I feel like we could definitely get 8 wins.
So that's Ron the Don telling us that Miles Brennan is going to be the starter.
Breaking news from Ronald Riggs that Miles Brennan is going to be LSU starting quarterback. But they start the season off Florida State, Southern, Mississippi State, New Mexico.
That's 4 wins.
I would say 4 wins. I mean, Mississippi State was good last year. They started the.
They're coming to us this year.
They could be. Yes, they're coming to Tiger Stadium.
Do they have a quarterback?
I don't think Will Rogers left.
I think he left.
I think.
Look at.
But after, and so I mean that's 4 wins. If not, you might lose Mississippi State 3-1. Still not bad. Then you go to Auburn, which Auburn seems like a dumpster fire. But they still got. I mean, they've got Calzone at quarterback from A&M, Zach Calzada.
They still have
TJ still there?
TJ's still there. They still got Tank Bigsby.
They still got Tank Bigsby.
They don't have receivers though. They don't have skill players.
Our defensive line is our strong suit, and so I'm not really scared of
Tank. We really stopped Tank last year.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think Auburn could be a win. Tennessee in Tiger Stadium. That's gonna be a ball game.
Look, Tennessee's a tough out this year.
Tennessee's tough out. So I'd say you drop that game maybe. So right now at worst we're 4-2. Then you got Florida at Florida in the Swamp.
That's a throw-up game too.
Yeah, it's a little toss-up game. So
I'd probably give it to them just because we've been getting most of them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've won 3?
The last 3.
Yeah.
3 straight.
19, 20 in this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 straight.
Lost 18. Should have lost that game. Then Ole Miss, I would say, is probably another loss.
They're coming to us, right?
They're coming to us, which could be. I mean, that's another up in the air. Alabama.
I give that one as.
Yeah. Alabama loss.
Yeah.
If we can all agree on that, we're gonna lose Alabama.
All right, bro.
I mean, maybe we can play with them.
Don't rub it in. We played with them with 50 scholarship players, so might be able to do something.
At home, we don't play well against them at home.
No, we don't.
52-17.
Relax.
And then we got Arkansas, who's a good program. KJ Jefferson's back. They don't have Traylon Burks. But who did they? Dwight McLaughlin is a Razorback. It's a little interesting. And then we've got UAB, A&M. So really, I mean, you could lose 7 games. You could just lose 2. Like,
where you at on A&M?
A&M, I think A&M's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I don't trust their quarterback play though, because it's
looking like Max Johnson.
I like Max.
Me too.
I have nothing against Max, and I think the offensive line hurt him a lot last year, but I don't think he is a top tier SEC quarterback.
Look, I was in LA when Max threw the ball behind his back.
I was there too,
and that wasn't pretty. Like that was like. You
could hear everybody saying like, "What is he?"
Bro, I was like, "What are we watching?" Like against UCLA.
Game of the season.
We didn't even play in the Trojans. This is UCLA.
Right.
We had to go to Pasadena for that.
Bro, Pasadena. Like we got beat in the Rose Bowl in front of the. You already know.
That was a little hilly walk back too. Like.
Bro, that was like the saddest walk I've ever taken after LSU game. Like,
and it was 8:00 daytime, and like it's dark, and everybody else ready to go to sleep. Back home.
Just like the UCLA fans celebrating, it was just like, damn, like we really getting celebrated on by UCLA. Like
that blue and gold confetti.
Bro, they went crazy. Like they won the Super Bowl.
They really did.
I'm still upset about that. Like I still got a bad taste in my mouth about it. It was tough.
I would love to play them again.
Me too. I think we do play them again.
I know we have I know we play.
A home and home.
A home and home.
I think we do. I think we should. And so I mean that'd be great to whoop them in Death Valley.
We need to.
But really, I mean the ceiling could be 2 losses. You lose to Bama and either Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida, A&M, team like that. And so I mean they could surprise a lot of people next year. I'm gonna go ahead and just say they go like 8-4. I think I agree with Ron on the 8 wins. I think that's probably around about where they'll be at. Just because there's just so much. You're going to have to work through some kinks, especially to start the year. You're going to have to work through some stuff. And it's just a new program. A lot of these players haven't played together. And so they're going to have to work through some things. But I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. Because they're going to They might lose a game they shouldn't lose, but I think they might win it. I think they're going to win a couple games that they shouldn't win. And it looks like the chat agrees with us. Jack Ballard, shout out Jack. Jack was one of my buddies in 5th grade at Dutchtown High School. He says, I think absolute ceiling is 10 wins. A&M and Florida couldn't beat LSU with Coach O. Auburn's bad. Bama's Bama. I think, I agree. I think 10 wins. I think LSU can pull it off.
Yeah, like if A&M couldn't beat LSU with the dumpster fire that we had going on last season, like
I think you make A&M a win now.
And I mean, I guess they got like all their little 5 stars and stuff, but I just
how many of those guys are going to play?
I really don't have that much faith in Jimbo as a coach to be like, all right, like he could get all these 5 stars and win with them. Like even at Florida State, he got 5 stars and didn't, so to speak, win with them.
So many 5 stars.
I
know. I think.
Did you see what Georgia did? Georgia just won a championship with that class.
Their junior year, I think they're going to be a legit like title. I don't think they're a title contender next year.
But can he even make it to their junior year? Like
I don't know. The transfer portal, you have no idea.
And then he doesn't have a buyout, so he could leave whenever. Like if they aren't good, he could pull a Coach K and just be like, I don't know if I want to coach no more.
I agree. But I think A&M's going to have to prove it. I mean, until like Brandon Reese says, I'll believe it when I see it. For A&M. Like you're going to – the last time they beat us was the 76-72 game, which they shouldn't have won anyway.
Right. That should have been a win too.
So, I mean, really we've owned them the past however many years.
Oh, no. Actually, no, that wasn't the last
they beat us in 20, but that's still they shouldn't have beat us.
Asterisk.
That doesn't count. 20 doesn't count. 20 doesn't count. But, I mean, we beat them last year with a team that was awful. And so – it will be interesting to see, but I think the ceiling is pretty. I think relatively high. 10 wins is very high for a year one. Speaking of high ceilings, I think the ceiling was very high for Jay Johnson coming into this season.
Very.
And I think that's why so many fans are. The dramatic fans are out on him completely.
You checked Tiger droppings today?
I have not. I can
Please
only
check
imagine.
Tiger droppings.
I mean, I'm going to go and take a scroll, but
probably got a little Shartless on there.
LSU baseball had us on a high horse coming off of the 2 wins at Florida and then the ULM 15-run win. It was 11 runs. We scored 15. And then you come out and lose on Thursday by a run. When you let them score, they scored like 5 in 1 inning. Really?
5 in the 7th, I think.
Yeah, because LSU makes like 2 errors and lets them. I mean, like you lose.
Routine
you
play
lost
at first.
Because of errors.
Routine play at first leads 6 runs.
And so I mean, they lose that game. 6-5? They lost on Thursday because of errors. And then they come back and they win big time on Friday because in the 7th inning they absolutely erupted, and with like 2 outs really the whole time. They just start RBI.
And McHale was cooking that game.
And McHale played great, and that's probably the biggest. It's not surprise, but the biggest thing to me is that McHale is back to like midseason form. Like he's playing the way he's supposed to play.
Yeah, he's been very consistent this year.
And his fastball was touching 90 on Friday, which is huge.
He's been the most consistent. The most consistent pitcher LSU has this season.
A lot of the time, his fastball kind of is like dipping. It's like 85, 86. But to see it touching 90 is scary, especially when he's got that off speed that just falls off a table and makes batters look like idiots. But some of the forum titles here on Tiger Dropping for baseball, we got Pathetic Baseball. What else? Let's see if we got anything else that's upsetting. They have a lot of football stuff going on there, but I mean they're not upset. But then let's see, is Coach Johnson being Mr. Nice Guy with Coach Mary's players? Johnson isn't the answer.
They out on him.
I mean, like
baseball, our best offensive team is our worst defensive team. And I can agree with that.
That's fact.
I can agree with that.
Somebody said, is Bo Pelini coaching the LSU defense?
Right, I saw that. And I mean, and I think they are, obviously they're talented because they have D1 baseball players at one of the greatest baseball schools of all time, college baseball schools. And so obviously they're talented, and you saw how good they were fielding last year. I mean, they didn't make errors like this. So obviously they have the talent. They just need to get it right, get it straight, and make the plays. because on the offensive end, they're getting it done. I mean, when you're scoring 6+ runs a game, you're expecting to win those games. You know, like Florida game 1 where you only score 2. I mean,
You don't expect
you're not expecting to win a game where you can only score 2 runs. But when you're scoring 5 and you lose 6-5 or stuff like that, when you're scoring these type of points, runs, you're expected to win. And when you're losing because you can't field the ball and make the play, I mean, it is hard to watch.
And then Saturday they stranded 11 runners.
Yeah.
So you look at that and like you see the hit, like you see like this team can hit.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not timely. Like
Right.
it'll be like a solo home run.
Solo home run in the top of the 4th.
Right. And it's like, all right, solo home run, and then the rest of the
Yeah.
next 3 batters strike out looking or strike out swinging. It's
bottom
like,
of the 7th, you got 3 on, 1 out, and the next 2 batters strike out and pop out. I mean, like, you got to be able to hit in the right spots, and a lot of times they're not doing that. I think at one point in the game on Saturday, they had 2 on with no outs.
with no outs. Like at the end of the game.
At the end of the game, it was like the 7th inning maybe, or maybe bottom 8.
Yeah.
Bottom 8.
And they had 2 on, no outs, then there's an out, and then I think somebody got walked. So then it's bases loaded with 1 out.
Dugas that got hit by a pitch.
Yeah, Dugas got hit by a pitch.
Yeah.
He gets on base, and then you got 1 out, bases loaded. You expect to be able to at least knock 1 run in. You know, a base hit scores 2.
And
Like
you stuck 3-4.
and then you just you strand all 3 batters.
And then the next inning, you give up 3 more runs, and then you back.
And with an error being one of them, which was the error was so elementary. You know, all you got the shift on, the ball's coming, just communicate. You got to communicate somehow. You shouldn't be running into each other in the middle infield trying to ground a. I mean, Jordan Thompson should have let K. Doty take that ball because it's coming towards the third baseline. Really, it's going towards third base, and so K. Doty's just has to go. Just field it. Jordan Thompson's trying to backhand it. Like, I get you want to make the play, and he probably could have if they don't run into each other. But you're making the hard play when Doty's got a much easier play. Like, if it's going that way, you just got to back off, and let Doty make the play. So I mean, that's just something that's hard to see, and you lose the game because of a couple of runs that are scored off of those mistakes. And what was the top of the 9th, top of the 8th, something like that. You lose, and so it is hard to watch those mistakes, but I still believe Jay Johnson's the guy. I think Scott Ward made the right hire, and I think that they'll get this right. I mean, I think they have to. Pitching has been great. McHale's pitching well. Want to see Blake Money kind of get back in the groove after the wrist injury and being out for a little while, because he was pitching great to start the year. I mean, he looked great, and so you want to see him kind of get back healthy, get back right. But yeah, I think they will clean it up. The defense this weekend, in my opinion, was not as bad as we have seen. I think really the only mistake on Saturday was that running into each other between Doty and Thompson. Obviously, I think the defense was bad on Thursday. Obviously, cost them the game. But like, the defense wasn't bad on Saturday. Wasn't bad against Florida. Wasn't bad against ULM. Like, obviously they can do it. They just need to be more consistent in doing it.
Yeah, like, they got to be way better with execution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Because the plays are there.
Yeah.
The pitchers are pitching well. I mean, when McHale's on, like, he's pitching as good as he can pitch, really, at the moment. And you should be able to take advantage of that, which they did. But even when other pitchers are in there, I mean, you got to be able to, like, Devin Fondo's got to get right. I mean, he has not looked good in the past couple. I mean, he shouldn't. He's a 5th-year senior, 4th-year senior, something like that. 5th year. He should be coming back. He shouldn't be coming in on a Saturday or a Sunday and pitching an inning. Like, that's not what you want from that guy. You don't want him to come in and just pitch 1 inning. I mean, that's a guy that you should be able to come in and pitch a couple.
Yeah, he should be like your extended reliever.
He should. I mean,
but
he
he's
should
not
be able to do that.
And he's not at all.
And that's hard to see. And then you have guys like Roselman come in and close the game out great on Saturday. I mean, he pitched beautifully. I mean, he's showing emotion. I mean, that's my favorite part. When a pitcher gets a strikeout and they're just pumped, go back into the dugout. But Roselman coming in, he was pitching great. He even threw a little off speed in finally.
Yeah,
And it looked kind of
it looked good. It had a little movement on it. He had a little break to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what you've been waiting on from him because he only throws fastballs.
Yeah, and all he needs is a little bit of movement because the fastball's coming at you at 98 miles per hour. So if you can just tinker it a little bit,
change the eyes
off speed, I mean, it's going to throw them off because they're like, okay, 98 miles per hour, 98 miles per hour, and then it's just like, like they're swinging and the ball's still coming. Like they weren't expecting that stuff to happen, but they're going to get it right. Let's see what else we get. What are they saying here? But yeah, I mean, they're going to get right. It's all about going through the motions. I mean, this is his first year. I think the ceiling was super high, and I think part of that is deserved because he inherited a great team. And yeah, what Donnie T here is saying, he said not even a halfway point. Good teams improve as the year goes on. Yes, I think they're going to continue to get better.
Rico in the chat is calling me Baba Stewie. I don't know.
What did he just call you?
He's calling me Baba Stewie. I don't know what that means. I don't know where that's going. Like Baba, like Baba.
Baba Stewie.
Baba Stewie. I don't know. I don't know. What do y'all think?
That's my evil twin.
What do y'all think?
But no, definitely they're going to be able to. I think they actually are legit at the halfway point. I think I heard one of the play-by-play announcers say that during the game. But they're going to be able to get it right. And if you can get it right and continue to improve, win a couple series, win all your midweek games, and then have the team play well in the SEC tournament, I mean,
yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing to me. Like just like how it was last year, the SEC tournament. That's really how LSU is going to make their mark in the tournament.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then last year, you saw them not play well in the SEC tournament. They get into a regional and they win
Oregon.
It. Yeah, they get into Oregon's regional and then they win it. And so I mean, and I think this team this year has the offensive firepower to make a run like that. Definitely, because last year's team didn't have offensive firepower. I mean, obviously Gavin was absolutely electric in the regional, but now you got multiple. I mean, now you got Joe Bear, who's absolutely on fire still. Dylan Cruz, who's going to be a number one pick. Jacob Berry, who's debatably going to be a number one pick.
Doty.
Yeah, you got Cade Doty leading it off. You got Trey Moore. I mean, those first, five batters, I mean, that's a nightmare, especially in the NCAA tournament and the SEC tournament.
Then you get to the bottom of the lineup and you got to see Dugas, Thompson, Travinsky.
That's my favorite sneaky thing is that they have Dugas batting 8.
Yeah, and
he hit
coming.
19 bombs last year, and he's batting 8th. Like, you think you get through those first 5, you get to Jordan Thompson, you're like, which JT is still a good hitter, but you kind of feel like you can kind of take a breath because you got through 5 MLB guys, and then or hitters at least, and then you get Jordan Thompson, who's still a good hitter, but then you got Gavin Dugas is up, who hit 19 yaks last year, and then Travinsky, who's hitting great at the moment, or either McManus, Malazzo, who's not the greatest hitter, but is an amazing defensive catcher.
Yeah,
give him that. He's great behind the plate,
but at the plate,
not great. And it's hard to see him not get PT. I know he got a little shaken up.
Is he still hurt?
I don't know. I just think Travinsky's been playing so well, and even McManus hit well a couple of times. But I think Travinsky's just been hitting so well that Jay Johnson's obviously willing to sacrifice defense for offense, and so
Noah. Come on now.
Obviously. I mean, I'm just saying, obviously.
We've been watching this team for long enough to know that Jay Johnson is definitely willing to sacrifice as much defense possible to get as much offense on the field as he can.
And so I think, I think this team will continue to improve. They'll get better. And I think by the time the NCAA tournament comes around, I mean, they could have a Baton Rouge regional. It's very possible. Just because they could get the ship straightened out. I think Jay Johnson will, because I think he's that type of coach. He's so meticulous, and he's going to think about kind of like Brian Kelly, like he's going to think through each process. And I think now you're at the point where you can't put off the defense anymore, because you just lost 2 more games in an SEC series that you should have won. Like A&M, you got to win that series, and you lose it because of errors. Auburn, you're supposed to win this series, and you lost it because of errors. And I think if that doesn't open your eyes, I don't know what will. And I think Jay Johnson's obviously going to recognize, get it right, and they're going to be able to improve throughout the season.
What you think, Ron?
Yeah. I think they're going to get it right. Because one of the main things is, like, it's just one specific thing to fix. Like, you fix the defensive errors, this is probably a 3-loss team maybe.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. If you fix these defensive errors, you win at Tech. You win when Tech.
Sweep Tech.
You win when Tech comes here. You beat A&M. You beat Auburn.
Who we play in the Texas series?
Texas.
Oh, Baylor.
Yeah.
Texas, Baylor.
Baylor, you beat Baylor. I don't know if you beat Texas because Texas
Yeah,
is kind of
Texas is Texas.
But you beat Baylor. I mean, like, you lose to a game to Florida, a game to Texas. You know, stuff like that. Like, you're in a way different spot. I mean, you could be number one team in the country if it wasn't because of the – and so but I think they can still get that right. And I think this week is going to be big. They play Grambling on either Wednesday or Tuesday, midweek game. And I think that's kind of – you just kind of push that aside. And they play Mississippi State, who is the reigning national champion. They're not as good as they were last year.
I don't think they're as
obviously. Good. But, I mean, still an SEC baseball team. And we've lost to we've beat the team we should have lost to, and we beat Florida, who we should have lost to.
And lost to the teams that we shouldn't have lost.
So, I mean, either this can get a lot worse or can get a lot better. And I think with Jay Johnson, even though a lot of people think that he's the worst coach that LSU could have hired, you should have hired Mike Bianco. No. I think he'll get it right because I think he's a great baseball coach, and I think he's the right fit.
Well, the short list is already out, Jay. So get ready, bro.
I mean,
just get ready.
There's no way Scott Woodward turns around. Does I mean maybe?
I know, but I'm just saying, like the short list is
obviously from a lot of these fans, especially on Tiger droppings, their short list is out, and they obviously think that we need to get rid of this guy and bring I don't even know who in, but
it don't matter.
But I think LSU got the right guy. I think they're going to get it right. Just because, I mean, they are an SEC team. They are a good team. They have legit players who played great defense last year. Last year was really the offensive end that kind of hurt you some games. Yeah. It was like kind of pitching didn't really help. You didn't get the greatest.
They couldn't find the right lineup last year at all.
Right. And so now you've got the offensive side of the ball really handled. Like, you don't really need to change much. I'll think this lineup the order they have now is what you stick with because I think this works. Obviously, I mean, you're scoring runs. They have to see Doty, Morgan, Cruz, Joe Bear, or Barry, Joe Bear, Thompson, and then Dugas and Travinsky or McManus or Malazzo or whatever. I think that's what you stick with, and you got to stress every practice the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, you still need to hit BP. You still need to practice hitting and try to continue the offense, but you got to break down this defense. You got to focus on it. Because you're losing games because of it. And to be able to continue to be successful and win games and not lose series like Auburn and Texas A&M that you're supposed to win, you can't make mistakes like this. And these errors are going to cost us every time.
True.
And so, and we'll see what happens. But I disagree with the fans that think the sky's falling and that Jay Johnson isn't the right coach. And I hope y'all disagree as well.
There's a LSU baseball cult. If you didn't know.
100%.
So the LSU baseball cult is probably calling for his job right now.
Yeah.
I like LSU baseball, but it's not like LSU football for me to where, like, I'm not emotionally bought in. So when LSU baseball loses, it's not like tomorrow's not going to be tough for me. But when LSU lost to Auburn, when LSU lost to UCLA, I was kind of down. Like, I didn't want to go to class. Like, it was tough. But this is just like, it's baseball, bro. Like, baseball, anything can happen. Like, it's way different from what could happen on a basketball court or what could happen on a football field.
Especially
like, it's
football.
Just crazy.
And yes, no, I agree. I mean, baseball definitely doesn't have the same pull on my heart as I'm more basketball, but definitely doesn't have the same pull on my heart. But it is hard to watch LSU lose games with little mistakes, like things that can be solved, and should be relatively easy at this level. And the same thing goes for other sports. Basketball is the same way. When you see them make simple mistakes on the offensive side of the floor, it's aggravating. And so my heart is LSU basketball, and my heart's still trying to be put back together.
Speaking of LSU basketball, who's on the team?
Officially, the entire roster is gone.
I was about to say, who's going to play basketball? Like, Jordan Toes might be able to. Come on, bro. Like, you might as well just make your money.
But these guys that are coming in are legit basketball players. Like, they're good. They're talented. They're not Johan Traore, Julian Phillips, Marvell Allen, Adam Miller, Brandon Murray. They're not those guys. But they are legit basketball players, and we have a legit coach. I think Matt McMahon is a great coach on the court. We'll see how well he can recruit, but Will Wade couldn't really recruit well. I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't recruit well, but we didn't know what he could do before he got to LSU. So we'll see what Matt McMahon can do. And I'm happy with the hire. I think LSU will be in a good spot in years to come. I think next year is going to be hard, very hard, especially when you're facing Johan Traore at Auburn, or Adam Miller and whoever else is out there if they transfer to an SEC school. I mean, it's going to be hard to watch them play for somebody else, you know what I mean?
Sharif's obviously Giannis, a Giannis
clone.
clone.
According to Shaquille O'Neal, Sharif is Giannis with a jump shot. Which, hey.
I wish you would have started LSU.
Giannis with a jump shot.
Giannis with a jump shot.
Yeah. And, I mean, hey, maybe he can do it. Maybe he can. I mean, I don't think he's Giannis, but I think he could. I think he does have potential, and he could be much better than what we've seen from him with an extended, because he really hasn't gotten a big role. Like, this year was probably the biggest role he got, and he did have some flashes, but he still wasn't the guy. And so it will be interesting to see where he transfers to. And the same goes for all of them.
What if he goes to Auburn?
I don't think he would do that.
You don't think he would go to Auburn?
I mean, Johan Traore is going to start over him. He needs to go.
He's not a center. He's not a center though. He could play like the 4.
Who? Sharif or Traore?
Sharif.
Yeah, Sharif can play the 4, but still, I mean, I'm Auburn. I don't know who all Auburn's going to have on the team. Obviously, Jabari Smith's going to be gone. Kessler has declared for the draft. But it'll be interesting to see where Sharif goes. And I think wherever he goes, obviously, he's going to pick a spot that he's going to have legit minutes. Because I think that was the biggest knock at LSU, was that he just wasn't getting the PT that he wanted. And so it's going to be hard to watch next year, but I do think LSU will be right under Matt McMahon as time goes on. Obviously, we're going to have him for, 7 or 8 years, however much the contract was. So, I mean.
8 years.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to see. And I trust him. The guys he's bringing in are good. And so it's just time to see if they're SEC-level basketball players, not just Ohio Valley Conference basketball players. Because that is quite the step from the Ohio Valley to the Southeastern Conference. But it will be interesting to see what they can do. It would also be interesting to see where some of these other guys that transfer from LSU go. Like, do they go to other SEC schools? Do they go to Blue Bloods? Do they end up at a place like Duke or Kentucky or North Carolina or Kansas? And I have seen Xavier Pinson's name float around Kansas a little bit.
For real.
Which is interesting.
I thought, his short list was what? Kansas, Kentucky,
obviously
Michigan State.
Including LSU. They're all looking at LSU.
Bro, look, them boys ain't coming back.
But they're not coming back to LSU.
They're like the girlfriend that tells you, like, we're going to break up, but
take a break.
We're going to take a break, and, like, we're going to get back together, but I'm going to still talk to this athlete or whatever. Like, come on, bro. Like, I know we ain't getting back together. You ain't got to lie to me. Like, don't even keep me in the loop. Like, I don't even care. Like, go about your business.
They're not coming back.
Yeah.
No, they're all going to say they're looking at LSU, but they're not going to come back. But it will be interesting to see where they go. I think Xavier Pinson will probably end up at Kentucky or Kansas, one of those top-tier teams, just because veteran point guard. Even though there were some games he didn't play well, I think those coaches are going to be like, this is a guy that's done it, has been here for long enough. I can coach them. I'm Bill Self and John Calipari, the cleanest basketball coaches ever. Never, ever paid a recruit for a transfer or done anything illegal. And that's why Kansas is in the national championship after.
It's all about relationships.
Yeah, I mean, everybody just wants
loving
to play
the
for Coach
school.
Cal.
Yeah,
So
they love the Jayhawks and Kansas football and all of that other good stuff, and they love Kentucky and living in Lexington. You know, I mean,
bluegrass.
Yeah, it's the greatest place ever. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
who doesn't want to live in Raleigh, North Carolina? You know what I mean?
I
Fuck.
can't blame them.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to live in Kansas as a whole?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Lawrence, Kansas is the greatest place ever.
Yeah, ever.
Never even been there.
But yeah, shout out to Kansas. They absolutely whooped Villanova yesterday. That game was no fun to watch. I am going to confess I didn't really watch any of it. But now Duke and UNC I watched all of because it was exactly what you wanted it to be. Because, I mean, it was Duke versus UNC, Coach K's last time, and they did it again.
3
They beat them
times
in the regular season.
Was it 3 times this year or 4?
Two.
2?
They didn't play them in the
They didn't play them twice for the conference.
no. And I thought in the conference they might have played them twice in the conference. They might have I think Duke won the first one.
Yeah.
But I know in the last game against North Carolina ever, because I mean people didn't think they were going to meet up in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
But the last game against Carolina ever, North Carolina beats Duke, and Coach K tells the student section to shut up. and then in the Final Four, UNC beats Duke after Caleb Love has completely taken March Madness over by storm.
He switched those shoes and never
a
looked
completely
back.
different player.
Like he was like, I'm not going back to the Space Jams. I'm gonna keep that. I'm
Right.
keeping the blues on. Like, don't worry.
And that 3 he hit at the end of the game.
That was very MJ-esque. Like,
I mean,
like
when
the
it
way the
down was one of the biggest shots in North Carolina history.
the way the shot looked and like
The shot that
his
killed
form.
Coach K. And so, I mean, it lived up to the hype, and they did it again. They beat Coach K in the Final Four, sent him home forever, and then Coach K didn't shake their hands. There was some drama about the handshaking. I've heard that it's because North Carolina didn't want to shake hands at some other point, but I think it's just because they lost.
Bro,
I mean, it's MJ Pistons.
Is Coach K. Like, he
Yeah.
didn't he walk up the court the last time they lost?
Probably.
He's just a little baby.
It's just being upset about losing.
Just making it about him
Yeah.
again.
You got
like,
to.
It wasn't about me. So, all right, fellas, let's go.
Right.
You know.
But it was a great game. Brady Manick, I think is his name. I just know his last name is Manick.
45.
Yeah, a big Larry Bird looking fellow for the North Carolina Tar Heels. I mean, became Dirk Nowitzki in the second half, and he would get these threes in the corner. He just started drilling them, and he hit some huge shots. But it was all around great game. He ends his career with a losing record against the Tar Heels, which is going to eat him away. He's probably going to come back and coach after 1 year off, and then he's going to beat North Carolina, and then retire so he can leave it at level 500, not be below 500. So I'm going to pull Tom Brady. Don't be surprised. I'm going to go ahead and call that right now that Coach K is going to come back and coach again.
Did they have a coach lined up already?
They do have one. Yeah, they have one lined up.
But I thought they had another one, and he was like, I don't want him to be the coach.
Yeah, so I think he was going to retire at some other, maybe last year.
Yeah.
Or the year before last year. And they had some other coach they were going to bring in. And he was like, no, I don't want him. And so he came back, coached again, so he could get his guy in line. It's just Coach K, man.
I hate him.
He officially runs Duke now.
Yeah.
Like he is.
He's the Duke president.
Yeah, 100%. And so it's going to be interesting. North Carolina and Kansas play each other in the national championship because you got a 1 seed versus an 8 seed. You got a Cinderella-y team, even though North Carolina's North Carolina. It's going to be interesting to see 2 blue bloods go after each other. Two teams just get after it. But yeah, Donnie T's talking about Baycott for North Carolina.
Yeah.
He is a monster.
And he played with an ankle injury last
He did
night.
hurt
Huh?
himself. He should, from what I've heard, he should go tomorrow night.
He said he's gone.
He said he's going to play. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
He is an absolute monster. I mean, he's a game breaker. I mean, that's why St. Peter's just couldn't finish.
No, because he was.
It's like, what are we supposed to do?
He just stands under the goal with his hands up, and you just. what I'm supposed to do?
Doug is going to come score me? Like,
no chance.
What? No. And so, I mean, he is a monster, and he's going to be huge. I think him and Kansas has some bigs. Obviously, they have
McCormick.
Yeah, and then they have Abaji.
He couldn't miss.
He's legit.
And it was like he was just 3 ball after I think he made his first like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas came out hot.
It was just getting ugly. Like you could tell, and Villanova wasn't taking timeouts. Like it started like I want to say Kansas started on like a 10-2 run or a 12-2 run, and Villanova just was like letting them come. Like Villanova would take the ball up, Kansas would get a steal, take it back, score a 2, get in a press. They try to take it up again, get another steal, and it's like, Coach, call a timeout. Like, give your boys a breather, do something. Like, just break their rhythm or something. No, but he just wasn't. He just didn't budge, and they got a big lead, and it was just like, all right, way too much. Yeah,
no, it was hard to see Villanova lose like that because. I was rooting for them because I'm a Villanova fan. I think Jay Wright is probably the best coach in college basketball.
He didn't have an answer
and
last
he just
night.
didn't. And sometimes that happens. OJ Abaji, 6 for 7 from 3. He only hit threes. He did not score another point, which is crazy. He didn't make any field goals.
That's what I'm telling you.
He's crazy because he's an athletic freak, and he didn't come in and he didn't have any. Any of those lobs, and he was just
putting it up there.
He was drilling them. And then you have McCormick, who's 10 for 12 from the field, 25 points. And so it's going to be interesting to see McCormick go up against Baycott because those are 2 monsters.
That's the matchup I'm watching the whole night.
2 monsters.
Like,
I agree. And then it's going to be interesting to see if Caleb Love continues to do what he's doing because right now he's playing like a top 5 player in the country.
If he's playing like that, I'm going with UNC.
I want to go with UNC no matter what. I
think I'm going with UNC.
Even though Kansas is the 1 seed and they went they're 33-6 at the moment, whatever. North Carolina is hot, and I mean, if an 8 seed is going to make it all the way and upset team after team after team after team after team, beat Duke, but they could have a little bit of the like a little bit of a high horse. I mean, you just ended Coach K's career, and I know how much that probably meant to them. Like I'm so sure that throughout the whole week before the game, their sole purpose was, you have a picture of Coach K on the wall.
Imagine getting to tell your kids, like, I was on the team that ended Coach K's career.
That had to be their focus. It's like LSU and Nick Saban announced he's going to retire before the season ends. And
I can't wait for that.
And then you meet up in the first round of the college football playoff. And so you stop his opportunity to win another ring and
send him home forever.
You send him home forever. 100% that whole week, everybody's focused on Nick Saban. They're not focused on Alabama.
It's Nick Saban.
And so I'm sure North Carolina that's all they were worried about. And now they've got to worry about, they had 1 day to prepare for Kansas. And so.
That's probably how the Rams was feeling when they thought Tom Brady was finna retire when they put him out.
Yeah. They're just focused on, we're going to beat this guy. We're going to end it.
All for him to come back.
Yeah, all for him to come back. The guy that had the worst loss was the touchdown ball or the jersey?
Well, he paid like $500,000 for
that ball.
And Tom Brady's last touchdown.
And then Tom Brady's like, you know what? I'm gonna throw 30 more of those actually. And then Blaine Gabbert, who's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be a starting quarterback. No, I'm sorry,
Kyle
Blaine.
Trask.
I'm sorry, Kyle Trask.
Did Blaine really think he was gonna be the starter? Come on now.
Would you rather start Kyle Trask?
Yeah.
Younger, probably more upside. Yes,
maybe.
And he went to Florida.
And now Tom Brady is the head coach.
Yep.
Because Bruce Arians, which I think
Todd
Bowles he should be a head coach in the league.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's getting the opportunity, and obviously he's going to be successful because Tom Brady's his quarterback.
And they like him. Like the players like him.
Definitely,
he's a player's coach.
Players
I agree,
definitely. Which is why Tyrann Matthew is going to go back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, and they'll have.
Going to join Todd Bowles.
Florida will have Corey Raymond, Tyrann Matthew, and Devin White, and Palm Trees, and Leonard Fournette.
That's going to be upsetting.
It's tough.
Because the Saints, as a Saints fan, I want Tyrann Matthew so bad. Not just for the
nostalgia,
emotional, how much it would mean to see him in the number 7. Like Taysom take the jersey off. Tyrann Matthew's going to wear 7 in the black and gold. But just even from a game plan standpoint, really, we did sign P.J. Williams back, but we need another safety.
Yeah.
P.J. Williams, I'm glad we have him back because that gives us some sort of answer. But, it's not the answer.
1 year deal king.
Yeah,
That dude is
he just gets one every year.
He is living off them 1 year deals, like making a lifestyle off the
Can't blame him.
See,
I'd
I
do
mean, how long has he been in the league?
I think you get more guaranteed money like with shorter deals. Like
Yeah.
like if you sign a $1 million, you probably get like $700K like right now.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah,
it's just tough. It's just
I mean,
you
of
know,
course they're like, just it's. He's begging for them to commit to him.
yeah, like, and they're like, PJ, like we got a year for you, like a year and like 2.5 for you, bro. Like, well, what else can we do for you? Like, we can't do 2, we can't do 3 years because we ain't gonna do a 2-year deal with you. Like, we can't do 3 because that's too long. Like, we don't even know if you're gonna stay healthy throughout the season. Like, so we just got this meal for you and play and see if you do good.
No, I hope they can snag Honey Badger to kind of answer the questions. But Bowles becoming the head coach for the Bucks. Obviously, Jordy talked about it this past week, and Tyron talked about it on Monday. The connection that they have because of his time in Arizona, they took a chance on him. That's kind of
Fiance's stepdad.
It kind of gives them upper hand, gives the Bucks an upper hand. But hey, the Saints can still pull it off. I mean, it's hometown. The hometown team. Grew up watching them. I mean, that was just such a good quote on with Jock. I mean, the hometown team. I grew up watching them. I would love to go back and play for them. Well, please do, Tyron.
He made it sound good.
Oh, of course
he played it so well. He's such a professional.
He's gonna say, "Hey, look at this quote. Listen to this."
Yeah. But I'm going over here.
Coach Bowles. Hey, Todd, give me the contract. Just let me sign it real quick.
He already said send him the iPad.
All the Saints fans are worried about this quote I said. Let me sign this contract and play against them twice a year.
Teams really be doing like they really do that to leverage against the Saints,
100%.
like in free agent things. Like that's why they always like, the Saints made a strong push late, but like the other team just come out and like sign that player.
Yeah.
Like Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, like okay, but
that was the craziest. Wait, did y'all see the Falcons jersey in the back of his picture?
Like,
so he was really gonna sign with the Falcons. Like I think he was really like.
I think it was
like everybody in Atlanta was calling him to come home.
Yeah,
right?
They gave him the key to the city. Like the mayor. And
like
everything.
they legit gave him the key to the city.
They said if he would have signed, like they was gonna have a celebration and everything.
It was gonna be Deshaun Watson Day in Atlanta, probably.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
everything.
crazy.
And he turned it all down for some money.
For some money to go to Cleveland.
Some money.
So, I mean,
okay,
look,
it's not some money.
Look, I'm just saying some money.
I take $100 million in Atlanta over $200 million in Cleveland.
Really?
We got to look at like the taxes. You got to look at all of that because like he might not be paying as much taxes in Cleveland, and like Cleveland, like the situation in Cleveland it might be a little better than Atlanta. Who does Atlanta even have besides Kyle Pitts at a skill position?
Well, not Calvin Ridley.
Man, chill
I'll
out.
tell you what, I mean, he might have been betting on Deshaun Watson to be a Falcons.
He probably did bet on it. I mean,
I really don't know. I mean, is Todd Gurley still there?
No, Todd Gurley.
They had Mike Davis is their starting running back.
Is Todd Gurley still in the league?
I think he's just a free agent now.
Damn.
Who else are there?
Arthritis in the knees.
They don't have
man.
Russell Gage anymore. Russell Gage is a Buck.
I think do they have Cordell Patterson?
Yeah, I think he resigned. That's really their entire offense. I mean, they beat the Saints the second game. I mean, Cordell Patterson beat them.
That's tough.
Defensively, they still have Deion Jones, but Deion has not. Debo hadn't played as well.
He's been hurt too.
They got Terrell.
Yeah, AJ Terrell from Clemson.
Jamar's son.
Yeah, one of Jamar's many children.
Jamar got 2 kids in the league.
Damn. We've got Trayvon Diggs, AJ Terrell. Who was guarding them in the Chiefs game? Legit was it Snead?
Snead, yeah.
Snead's definitely. I mean, shoot, he had 260 something yards on
Humphrey.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he cooked. And whoever they were doubling him with, I mean, he cooked Marlon Humphrey. And you see Marlon Humphrey offer. He told Jake Paul to come sign with the Ravens. Yeah. Because he's been going all out on the Twitter recruiting Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah, wasn't he big on who was that? Bobby Wagner? Was it Bobby Wagner?
Yeah.
Everybody's
Rams.
That's
crazy, man.
And he signed with a 3-year deal with the Rams.
And it wasn't. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like a veteran.
No,
minimum.
He got $60 million.
$60 million.
And you know that he's his own agent. Like he fired his agent.
That's awesome.
Like before his last deal with Seattle, he fired his agent because like he was like it was like too much to like go back and forth. Like his agent was like being a middleman pretty much.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm not really in all the meetings, and it's like I don't know what exactly he's telling the team, what the team's telling him. So I was like, fuck it, like I'll be my own fucking agent and do it myself.
I
Fired him.
I'm a fan.
Got like got like
that.
60 M's from the Seahawks. Now he got 60 M's from the Rams, division rivals.
Doesn't the NFL have a salary cap?
Yeah. Well, they say
that shit is cap.
I mean,
it's cap. That's exactly what it is.
Because there's no way that the Rams can sign player after player and there be a salary cap. I mean, there's no way.
With no first round picks either.
Yeah, they just got rid of all of them.
Fuck them picks.
We got a Super Bowl out of it.
They did.
But I mean, I figured Bobby Wagner would end up like somewhere like Los Angeles, like Baltimore or the Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers. But I wasn't expecting it to be the Rams. That was the last team. It's kind of like Kevin Durant to the Warriors. Who, I mean, the softest move in history.
You know how I feel about KD. You know how I feel about
whatever.
KD, bro. Look, no KD slander will be allowed in this section.
No chest.
In this section. It don't matter. I understand why he did it because of what him and Westbrook went through, bro. Like, if you had to play with Westbrook, you would want to leave too. Like, I wanted him to leave after that. I was like, me too. I was like, bro, he can't play with Westbrook no more at all. Like,
no, I'm all for him.
I would have been for him to go to, like, if he would have went to the Nets first. If he would have went to Brooklyn first, I would have been like, all right, that's cool. But he went to the Warriors. It was kind of a cupcake move. It's cool, though. That's still my dude. Like, I'm not going to go against him.
Definitely.
Look, it was a cupcake move.
That was 73-9 last year.
It's cool.
And you blew a 3-1 lead to beat them. Not kind of. It was the softest move in the history of sports.
It was. But it's whatever. Like, my dude shook back. He's on the Nets now with balling.
Maybe he can finally get his first ring in Brooklyn. But, yeah. But speaking of the NBA, the 2022 NBA champions are going to be the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm just going to say that now.
Yeah.
Because, my goodness.
You all in?
Yeah. All in. It won't bow down. The Pelicans they didn't kill the Lakers. They came back. They were losing late. Valanciunas, Ron, I know you alluded to this, hit a huge three. Yeah. I know you tweeted there. They don't win that game, and I agree.
Yeah, and I didn't think he was going to make it. Like, everybody had cleared away from him. He just shot it. Like, even the shot looked so uncomfortable.
And he drilled it.
Yeah.
Absolutely drilled it, and it was a huge shot. And they played great. I mean, McCollum, Ingram, I mean, those two are so offensively talented. It's going to be hard to stop them consistently. Stop both of them. I mean, because when Ingram's hurt, you can kind of focus the defense on McCollum. And then, McCollum's not playing. You can focus on Ingram. But now you got both of them. Yeah. And then, like Mikey Matuk reported this past week, then you have Zion coming back to finish out the season for the Pelicans, which, hey, heard from a good source, and I hope it happens.
Brandon Reese in the chat asked if we think that DK Metcalf is going to stay with Seattle.
I think, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's going to get out this year. I mean,
he's still in his rookie deal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can make a push after this season, but I mean, you still kind of need to finish out this year. He was on I don't remember what he was on, but he was with KG on like KG's show or whatever.
His podcast.
Yeah, his podcast or whatever it is. And they were asking about quarterbacks, and I mean, he went with Drew Lock. He was like, he said Drew Lock's the guy essentially, and we'll see. Drew Lock he is talented. He's got a talented arm.
I mean,
but he's an absolute gunslinger, and I mean, he's seeing ghosts half the time.
But sometimes he could get a little too gun happy. Like he could be too trigger happy. Like he could just. All right, look, it's three defenders right there, and my receiver, I'm gonna throw it still.
Swing it, yeah. And he makes the throw. I mean, it's a beautiful throw right into the defender's hands. I mean, it just falls right in. And so, I mean, I think he could. I'm not gonna say he could be like a crazy good quarterback, but I don't think he's as bad as it's made out to be.
He's serviceable.
I think he is. I think he's that bad. I think he's that bad.
And so we'll see what happens, really. I mean, I don't think the Seahawks are going to be good. They're going to suck. They lost their best offensive player and their best defensive player.
They still got Tyler Lockett, huh? So they still got DK and Tyler.
Yeah, they still got two great receivers.
They just don't have
Russell. Running back, really. I mean, they still have Chris Carson.
And Pochik signed with the Browns. So, yep. So you don't have a center.
Yep.
Damn.
And defensively, you don't have your middle linebacker. They've never really had a pass rush. That's been their biggest struggle.
They tried Stephon Sullivan at DN.
Yeah.
So like that's how you know they were in deep. Yeah, they were like
scraping, dude.
Like project. Like you want to play DN? Can you rush the passer? Like Ron, can you rush the passer, Ron?
You'll do it, Ron.
I mean, I'll go rush the passer for the Seahawks for 2 years.
Of course. But yeah,
give me a little deal. Come on now, coach.
Passer for the Seahawks.
I got a little pass rush in me now. Come on.
The one pass rusher the Seahawks have is Jamal Adams.
Yeah,
but it hurts. I mean, maybe
Chill
they
out.
move him to DN.
Chill out.
Maybe that solves the problem.
Blitz boy, huh?
I'm just kidding.
That's
I
what they
love
call him?
Jamal. I love
Bro,
Jamal.
like when they won that division championship, he was up in there smoking that cigar and like had the NFC West champions hat, and they lost the next week.
Yeah, they
Like,
lost to another NFC West team. Didn't they lose to the
they
Rams?
beat the Rams that
and then
day
they
and
lost
lost
to the
to
Rams
them.
in the playoffs.
No.
Like after he did, that's what made it so funny.
No,
I mean,
the
it's
funniest was whenever he was like, it's like in the pregame, his little pregame thing. It's like the best safety in the league or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it comes out and they threw like a perfect pick to
And he
him,
drops
and
it.
he dropped it. Like,
Yeah.
come on, Jamal, you can't be saying stuff like that
The best
if you
safety in the
can't
league.
catch.
I
Like,
agree. Yeah, no, and so I don't know. We'll see what the Seahawks do. But speaking of wide receivers, the Saints need one. So hey, DK, come to the Saints. If you're going to force a trade, come catch a ball from Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston or Drew Lock.
Jameis.
Jameis.
Like, I mean, obviously.
I'm taking Teddy over Drew Lock.
What about you, Ripley?
That's
I
what
mean,
the
the Broncos
Broncos.
did.
Yeah, like
Yes,
that's.
I mean,
What about you, Ripley?
Jameis Winston or Drew Lock.
I think Jameis Winston.
It's a
Consistent
consensus-
Jameis, huh?
Yeah, anonymous pick, Jameis Winston. And I mean, I don't think Drew Lock is as bad as people make it sound out to be, but I'm a big fan of Jameis Winston, and I like the quote he put out saying, "I can do everything your favorite quarterback can do." What a mindset! I love it. I mean, people are gonna laugh at him. Everybody's gonna laugh at Jameis consistently because he's got stupid looking workouts. He says stuff like that. He's grittying with crutches in the locker room.
But that's what makes him like him.
That's why
Like
I
that's
love
why.
it.
Yeah, that's why he's perfect for the
But
team.
the quote, "I can do everything your favorite quarterback can do," I love it. I love it.
I mean, in a way,
he really can.
he
He
not
can
wrong.
make all the throws.
in a way,
He's mobile.
Yeah,
He can do it all. But we'll see if he can put it together. I hope he does. But I just hope he has some more guys to throw to. Because last year got really rough
very
when it
rough.
came to pass catchers. And quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Because we went through a couple.
Taysom Hill experiment's over.
It's
Thank God.
officially over.
Thank God. Which I mean, and that like opens up another weapon. Now he can fully get a tight end.
I agree. And I'm happy with it. I want him to say. And he can also be, the gadget quarterback in a random play.
Yeah.
Instead of having him on the sideline with a headset on. Which completely, because he is a good football player and he does help the offense, and so I'm glad to have him back there. I think Andy Dalton was a good signing because I think it kind of completely fixes the Taysom Hill problem.
Yeah.
Gives you some confidence that you don't have to go right to Ian Book after an injury.
And I had heard that like part of the Saints' pitch to re-sign Jameis is that they told him like this is gonna be your team if you come back. Like no more Taysom Hill. Like they let him know like the Taysom stuff was over. Like to like
And
help
I'm
him resign.
so glad because I'm not Taysom. Jameis Hill's the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm for it. And I think and I love the mindset he's going into. Obviously, he's working hard to get back healthy, get back on the field. And I think he's going to pull it off. And New Orleans is going to be a good spot because next year you're going to have a great basketball team and a great football team.
Hopefully.
If we draft Chris Olave with 18th pick.
The basketball team will be great regardless.
Yes,
Like
regardless.
we set up it's crazy how David Griffin pulled that off. Like
He
how
saved
set
his
it up.
career.
Like Jackson turning out to be a good pick, Nikhil being an asset to get CJ,
Yeah.
and then Zion
Hiring
coming
the right
back.
coach. Yeah, and because I'm going to admit I was out on Jackson. I was like
I was too.
because you draft him with what, the 8th pick?
8th pick.
Eighth
You
or the
traded
10th?
you traded the 10th and 11th to get Jackson at 8.
And so I mean, you gave that up, or was it? It was the 4th pick, wasn't it? We didn't we have the 4th of the Lakers,
Yeah, we traded.
and we traded that.
Yeah, we traded
to the
that.
Hawks to
Yeah.
get 8 and 10.
and they got Reddish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so we so we used the 8th pick to take Jackson Hayes, and I was like, why are we sending our 8th pick to the G League? Like, he should be an asset. He should be making plays, and now he is. He's shoving LeBron on the ground, which Jackson, don't ever do that again, okay? LeBron is the greatest player of all time. You should not put your hands on him that way. I don't care if he elbows you in the gut.
I mean, I liked it. You should have did.
Oh,
it
no,
again.
I like it too if it's anybody but LeBron.
I mean, especially LeBron. But
Wow, whatever, Ron. But, no, it was a big win for the Pelicans. Pelicans are going to be good for years to come, I think. Because obviously they're drafting well. I mean, both draft picks this year are panning out. Trey Murphy's great.
yeah,
Herb Jones,
Trey, he's had
ups and downs.
He's had ups and downs, but like the last 4 games have been amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, we don't win the last 3 games without Trey Murphy.
100%. And we don't win a lot of the games this year without Herb Jones.
Yeah.
Who is easily the steal of the draft. We say this every Sunday because he continues to show why. I mean, he's a rookie clamping LeBron.
The only reason why Herb won't win, why he probably won't make,
rookie first.
Yeah, the only reason why he won't is because he just cannot knock down his threes.
Yeah.
Like he just can't. But once he gets that, he's gonna be like
3-and-D, man. I mean, that's the sauce in the NBA. If you can play defense
and shoot threes,
knock the perimeter shot, I mean, you're good.
Three
and that's why I'm
DL.
going to make a pitch right now. Somebody sign me because I mean, I can do both of those things. I can make the open shot and I can play defense.
And that's very valuable in today's NBA.
100%.
See, I can't.
Klay Thompson was the first one, and not the first one, but I mean, he really showed that can be your whole job. You don't ever have to dribble the basketball. Just guard the best player, and when you catch it, shoot it and make it.
If I wasn't mistaken, I would have thought you said 3-inch D.
A 3-inch D.
But you said 3-and-D.
Go ahead and get your head out of the gutter. I mean, we're talking sports right now.
If we are talking 3-inch Ds.
But no, I mean, it's David Griffin's completely saved his job.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw that video of Willie Green yelling like pumped up.
Yeah, he was
after
like,
that.
like he's been doing that like after a
love
lot
it.
of big wins.
I love it, and I think that's why the players love him.
They took Willie Green to pressure after they beat the Lakers last
He
week.
was at Treehouse too.
So see, they like a lot of team bonding. Like
Turning up.
yeah, they was on a strip club. Like get a little lamb chops in there. I know they got some food.
Lemon pepper wings,
Nah,
pepper Lou.
They got red beans up in they strip clubs in New Orleans.
Man, stop playing.
They do.
Go over there. What was the club that Lou Williams went to? What was it called in Atlanta?
Magic City.
Magic
That
City.
he left the bubble. Got in trouble because he left the bubble to go get the lemon pepper Lou wings.
Hey, them wings did look good.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
It
he's
look
leaving the
good.
bubble.
Like,
He's leaving the playoffs.
if I'm gonna leave my job to go get some chicken, to get some
Named
wings
after me. Now.
Like
Now
they
he's
named after
lemon
me,
pepper
Coach.
Lou.
Come on, Coach. Like I had to go
gotta
give me
have
some
to go.
wings.
And,
I
like,
had to.
that
But he left
story-
Orlando to go to Atlanta. That's crazy. Like
And that story, like even more crazy, like when you look at like what they were serving them in the bubble,
Right.
like everything was like packaged stuff. It was
Yeah,
just,
I mean, how does the NBA not have the money to get you like legit food?
Yeah.
Lemon pepper Lou should be able to get his lemon pepper Lou wings no matter where he's at. The NBA should be able to hook that up for him. But speaking of Atlanta, Baton Rouge is getting a little taste of Atlanta this week. Lil Baby's entering the PMAC on what day is it?
April 7th.
April 7th.
Thursday.
Coming in April 7th. Is that Thursday?
I think it's
I think
Thursday.
it is Thursday. So April 7th, Lil Baby's coming in. Obviously, I'm not going to go because he's an op, and I'm not going to go support anybody that's
OPL.
because YB is better. I mean, 100%, I'm going to say it to the day I die. But Ron, where does Lil Baby rank? Is he in like the top echelon of rapper today?
Yeah, he definitely top 3. It's Young Boy, Lil Durk, Lil Baby. Nobody messing with them 3. Like anything they drop is gonna do numbers. It's gonna chart. It's gonna be good because, like, they're the only artists right now in the rap game that can make a song and like they got the fan base for it and they have the same mainstream attention too.
Yeah.
Like nobody mess with them 3.
I agree. I mean, and it's just, nothing against Megan Thee Stallion, but I said this earlier. She should not have won, what was it, like Rap Artist of the Year over Lil Baby, and I think it was 2020, because Lil Baby dropped the best album of that year.
That's debatable.
Both, I
Top.
agree. There
There you go. There you go. Why be better?
But I mean, Baby dropped it was My Turn.
My
right?
Turn Deluxe and the Bigger Picture.
Yeah, and so he dropped that. He dropped My Turn, and then he added the deluxe songs, which all were still good.
Humble. That was crazy.
Because I mean, a lot of the times they drop that deluxe album, it's like I don't really want to listen to these extras. I was straight with the first one.
You just gave me the same album with like a remix.
A B-side.
Like, come on, bro, don't
so
play
like,
with me
I
like
really
that.
didn't need that, but with the deluxe version of My Turn was hard.
Yeah.
I mean, he put out more bangers.
So who are your top rappers, Noah?
My top rappers.
Yeah.
I have YoungBoy at 1.
All
I don't really listen to Lil Durk. I have Baby in there.
All right. Just give me a 5, like a top 5.
I'm trying to think of who else is in there now. I'm gonna include Drake. I also think he's up there all time.
You say he's up there all the time, or
Up there all
oh
time.
yeah, Drizzy is. Man,
Influence.
look,
He's-
I'm
I mean,
gonna give y'all mine after this.
Okay.
It's good.
And so I think we got YoungBoy, Baby, Drake. Trying to think who else. Right now. That's tough. It's tough to say right now.
Shoot, they got Pooh.
Yeah, I don't really listen. I mean,
What about Fredo?
I listen to Fredo's song. I listen to some Louisiana rappers. See, me, I kind of moved away from like rap, other than like Youngboy Baby, because I started listening to Rod Wave. Rod Wave is probably my top artist, other than Rod Wave.
Okay.
And it obviously shows that went through a rough time at some point to listen to Rod Wave that often.
Same.
But
Sorry, bro. Sorry.
But Rod is just Rod, man.
Yeah.
I'll probably put Polo up there. I think Polo's hard.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of his stuff is very similar, and a lot of the music he drops. But yeah, I mean, that would probably be my 5. Would be YB, Baby, Drake, Rod, and Polo.
What about you, Ripley?
Y'all didn't say anything about Gunna, and I really like Gunna.
All right.
Nobody ever talks about him, but I like him a lot.
I like Gunna too. I'm a big Gunna fan.
Drip or Drown
I don't really listen to Youngboy, but I wouldn't just put it on in the car like, oh, I'm gonna listen to Youngboy, but like I know his songs because they like always play it. So.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's the voice of the South, man.
So you got a 5? You got 5?
Probably not. I don't really listen to rap that much.
It's top 5 artists. Give me a top 5
What about
artists.
country music? You listen to country music?
I like old rap. Like I like J. Cole.
Yeah,
All right.
up there all
mean-
time.
Yeah. That's all
Yeah.
time relays.
I went to a Meek Mill concert one time, and it was cool. I like Kevin Gates.
All right. The Louisiana in there.
You know
I don't really have a top 5.
That's a good
That's
artist.
like good artists. Like you listen to like we at least know you listen to good music.
Wait,
That's,
what
that's
about
how-
what about country music? You listen to country
Yeah.
music?
Yeah, I'm done.
Finally, somebody else in this studio listens to country music. Everybody
do it.
hates on country music. I'm the only one who listens to it.
It's alright.
I'm
It's straight.
going to the Luke Combs concert.
Luke
Well, it's
Combs,
at
baby.
Jazz Fest in
Yeah.
May.
So that's not even like you going to a country concert, but it's Jazz Fest. That's different.
Well,
Yeah, but it's Luke Combs, dog.
Yeah, it's
I
Luke
know.
Combs.
You know
have
Luke
to
Combs?
go.
You listen to Luke Combs?
I don't,
Okay.
but I know it's
Yeah, Ron.
Okay, I know.
Ryan from OP. That's different. Ryan from
A
OP.
little bit. A little bit.
Of course, but yeah.
It's different.
Finally, somebody else in this place that respects country music. I don't listen to a bunch, but everybody hates on me. Lloyd hates on me. Katie hates on me. Jordy doesn't really say much about it, but Katie and Lloyd 100% hate on the fact that I listen to country music, and I'm sick and tired of it.
You just don't seem like a country music listener, bro. Like
Who,
you
me?
just don't seem like it's somebody that
I
listens to
wasn't.
country.
I've only listened to country music for the past 2 years.
Wow.
Like really, I didn't.
That-
I hated on it.
That means you
before.
went through some things.
And then, well, all my friends listened to it, and I was
Oh,
like, you know what,
alright,
whatever,
alright,
I
I
give
see.
in.
I see.
And Luke Combs was the first that I listened to. Started listening to it, and then it just
When you like first listen to it, you're like, why am I listening to this?
100%.
But then when you start listening to it and you start like listening to other artists, you're like, okay, this is actually kind of good, and like I just want to drive and listen to country music.
100%. And the good thing is, my favorite part about country music is because when you sing it, you get to change your voice a little bit, and you get to add an accent to it. And so when you're singing, it's more fun because it's not just your normal voice. You know what I mean? You get to add a little twang to it. And so it's more fun. It's more enjoyable. Just like when you're rapping. Say you're rapping, like you get to change your voice to how they're gonna, like Lil Wayne. You have to change your voice a little bit when he raps. And Boosie's the same way.
Hey, Boosie is
You
the
gotta-
same.
Boosie for sure. You gotta
can't
do
rap.
that little Boosie like
can't rap.
that little Boosie noise.
You can't rap a Boosie song in your regular voice because it's just whack. You got to change your voice a little bit to just fit the vibe. And so I think that's what country music is, because you get to have more fun with it, dude.
I don't know, man.
Stewie, you have on your way home, or do you have your car back?
No, I don't have
Okay.
my car back.
Well,
Me
whoever,
and Ron go get
Okay.
on
It
that.
really,
when
We're
y'all
gonna get
are
on
in
the
the car on the
country.
way home, country music. the whole
country
way.
music really hit like in the truck.
Yeah.
Like, in the truck, country music.
Look,
I ain't gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been
country
on
man.
some back roads listening
You
to
know
country
it.
music, and it was kind of like, all right,
country
look,
music's
hold
good.
up, I might be able to vibe to this. But then, like, if I try to listen to it by myself, I'm like, all right, this is not me.
by
This ain't
myself, I
me.
can't
No,
This
like
ain't-
my
this ain't
friends
me.
that work out to country music, I'm like,
But
you can't unless you're depressed, and then it's understandable.
There's literally a Morgan Wallen song with Dirk in it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna listen to that one?
I mean, it was alright.
Didn't he just drop that though? Like recently?
It was recent. It was very
It was
recent.
his
new
It was
album.
very timely because Morgan Wallen was under some scrutiny
Oh, but
Yeah, look, Dirk defended him.
for some language he used.
Oh,
so
alright.
he came out, made a song with Dirk, and it's like,
see,
okay.
YB would have never did that. That's why YB better.
Yeah, but why
YB
be finna do a song with 6ix9ine? So, I mean,
Oh no, for real? Like you serious?
I don't
6ix9ine's
know,
I
but
thought they didn't. I thought he didn't mess with him.
6ix9ine was like in the studio together.
That's awesome. 6ix9ine's top all time.
Hey, that 2018 run was crazy.
Bro.
He
It
don't
was
hit on
great.
6ix9ine,
He
but
Bro.
dropped some good
every
songs.
week, every
But-
week he had a hit.
But at the end of the day, we don't respect snitches. We can't respect it. We don't respect
Hey,
his.
I don't respect. Look, all his good music was before he snitched. So like, I'm
Alright.
talking about like all
So
that.
it's all okay.
Yeah, like
Except that anything he makes after
everything he made after wasn't as good.
because he wasn't the same guy.
Yeah, it didn't hit.
But yes, Ron and Stewie on the way home. You have to listen to some country music.
Nah.
You
I'm
gotta
not
do
feeling
You
it.
have to
I'm not feeling it.
with the windows
Nah.
down. Windows down.
Oh,
Drive and listen.
I'm not feeling it.
I rather play that Lil Nas X song.
See, that's even worse. This man trying to put me on the weirdo music.
Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas X. But
Him and Youngboy got a song coming out.
Really?
Like actually, like yeah.
Oh, good for them.
I think YB just be making songs with
He
everybody.
really, and it's crazy. It's crazy the amount of music he puts out.
Like
Yeah.
the song with Tyler the Creator actually go hard though.
100%. Because
Yeah.
you're like, my favorite part was when people were reacting to it, and they're like, "Wait, is that Young Boy?" Like,
Yeah,
'cause he
because
was-
this
Yeah.
young boy
he
dude
comes
kind
in
of
like
fight.
flowing.
Yeah, he
Like,
did
say-
come
like-
on.
What
like
is your name? What do
floating
you
on the
bring?
beat.
Yeah.
What is your name? What do you bring?
Yeah. Okay, so like when Ron said the name of the song, "What's your name?"
What's your
earlier.
name?
I didn't realize that was the. I never put that together. Maybe it's just the way my mind works.
Interesting.
I was just like, whatever.
It's like listening to a Lil Wayne bar.
Yeah.
You don't really get it the first time.
but
Then you
it's.
listen to it again, you're like,
He really said that.
That boy
division
said-
like a line between two dots.
That boy said smoking cigar fatter than a Swisher Sweet. Like that's
That's just a
Yeah, I
Wayne
think
bar.
it's like that. Like,
I had to
Yeah.
explain the real G's movement sounds like lasagna bar to somebody recently because they didn't understand it. And I was like, spell lasagna.
The G and
And I was like, do you say "g"?
Silent.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I had to let him know.
Wayne does have some bars though.
A few.
Like
He's got so many. Like, you can Google Lil Wayne bars, and there's just a list, and you're like, oh my, these are amazing.
yeah. See, like that's why y'all talk about y'all top artists and rappers. Like Lil Wayne's always gonna be number one for me. Like
Even
matter
right
what.
now.
Right now, like
Even right now.
like I know Lil Wayne. I could turn on any Wayne song from any year,
Right. But I'm saying
and it
putting
will
out
kill
music right
any
now.
song that's out right now. Like
I'm
this
saying,
is just like the
music that
lead,
he's putting
From
out
any
in
year?
2022.
bro. I'm telling you, like
any year.
you could go back to the Carter, and he got harder music than that's coming out right now. Like besides the headliners, besides the people we named, Lil Baby, Dirk,
Right.
YB, like
No, I can agree
the
with
headliners, but everybody else, Wayne could kill them in any type of like. Wayne would still kill YB in the verses. Like if YB wanted that, it wouldn't even be close. Wayne was giving us free music that would have been sellout albums, that was Grammy worthy albums. The only reason he couldn't make it Grammy worthy albums was because it was other people's songs he was raping, literally. Crazy.
Hey, upgrade you. Hey,
That's what I'm saying.
upgrade you. That's crazy.
Every song on the No Ceilings tape is like a running back,
No
like
Ceilings,
running back.
yeah,
Like you
right.
got to run it back to hear what
Shout
you
out
said.
to Lloyd. Lloyd threw me on No Ceilings. I had never listened to it.
The drop
serious?
three.
To Lloyd. Yeah, I'm serious.
The
I
Drought
never-
3, all of
Drought
them.
But I'm saying like songs that are coming out in 2022. So Wayne's still number one in your opinion because what's he dropping?
He ain't dropping nothing.
I
He
know.
just features right now.
No, all time I think Wayne is
Yeah,
definitely
Wayne-
up there.
Wayne is like, for me, he's one.
One.
I was
No, I agree.
raised on Lil Wayne
yeah,
and like
same.
the hot like. When I was a kid, Wayne was a kid, pretty
Right.
much.
Well,
So
see,
like,
me-
Hot Boys was like a thing when I was a kid. So like, I would watch the Hot Boys,
Yeah.
like
My-
video every day.
My
after
freshman year
school.
of high school was whenever I decided to verse myself in the history of rap, and I decided to go all the way back, and I jumped straight 90s rap. I dove into it hard, and so Pac and Biggie.
Yeah, you can't go
I
against
mean,
that.
goodness
For
gracious.
me, it was Boosie and Webby.
Yeah.
True. You got
Like-
Boosie and Webby. You got
Lil Fat.
The fat
Ron
Gates
Bleeds
in his
his
fat
man.
days
Gates.
when he
Gates
had
with
dreads.
the
Have you ever heard this Kevin Gates story about why he decided to lose weight?
No.
He said it on like a Genius interview, and he was like he was holding his partner baby, and the baby tried to breastfeed him.
Oh, I did hear that.
He's like, I need to lose weight. And so I mean, Gates has some great songs, but that is a great story.
True.
Just like the Rihanna on the same, I think it was the same Genius interview.
You talking about when he said she had a big forehead?
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna kiss her on that cranium. I mean, it's just gold, man. But yeah, I got a little bit away from sports there, but that's why we do this on Sunday nights.
Right.
We appreciate y'all coming out to watch, interact, and spending your Sunday nights with us. It is a little late, 9:20. So we appreciate all y'all that are watching. Jordy has, I think he has, who's he have lined up tomorrow? Major Burns. Major Burns lined up tomorrow morning.
Is it a video call?
A little video call. Hopefully it all
think
goes
it is.
smoothly as it did on Friday.
Yeah. A little video call.
Little video call. We're going to try to get some guests in here for y'all on Sunday nights. Have a little bit more fun.
Ripley was our first guest. Shout out to Ripley.
Welcome. Yeah, and so we're gonna just continue to improve here on Sunday nights, but make sure you tune in 7 to 9 tomorrow morning to the Jordy Culotta show. Yeah, we'll see y'all next Sunday. We love you. Stewie and Ron, listen to country music on the way home.
No.
I'm sorry. Not listening to country music.
Whatever.
Trying to get me out of here.